look like a pill. Look like a pill popper. Holy cow. Well, don't know if anybody's around or anything's going on. I wanted to come in and talk about aeration and fall leaf removal and barbecue. Love barbecue. Don't know if you guys watch much of that. Don't get a whole lot of comments. Was thinking about doing a turkey this weekend. Kind of a tricky thing to smoke, but yeah, was thinking about it. I don't know. Got to change jobs. Things are what they are. Gas prices are what they are. Circumstances are what they are. Miss Pecan, hello, sweetie. So something else has come along. It's more pay, more hours. So I'll probably end up going there doing that. So how are you and your? Well, I can't say little one because he ain't so little, is he? Hope all is well, dear. Hope everything's going your way. Yeah, leaf removal and aerations. You know, aeration gave me a chance to really look at people's property and really look at the root potential and what's going on, what's up with their topsoils, what have you. I mean, it revealed a lot. Some cases it shouldn't have been done. There were some issues. I don't know. It's different. I know I would be very upset if my situation were that way, and you won't know until you hit it with an aerator like that. It's a very revealing, very intrusive, but very revealing process to tell you what's going on with your yard. And people just don't, they want the beautiful yard, but they really don't care what's going on. They really don't care what's going on under the soil and what's there to support things. Hey, Southern, what's going on? And they come along and their big thing right now is get rid of the leaves, And why are my roots showing? Well, unless you're an old woman worried about your hair color going away, I don't see, roots showing is a sign of compaction. It's a sign that too much has been pulled out of the soil. And I've said this in the past, every leaf color is its own mineral. That's what causes the discoloration or the colors to be so brilliant and so vibrant from tree to tree to tree, is its concentration of metals that it's taking out of the soil. And look, it's not going in the ground and pulling a piece of iron out of the ground. That's not what I mean. It's in such minuscule amounts, but it causes the color. And then somebody comes along and says, I want all these leaves removed from my property. Oh my God, huge mistake. Really, pecan? Nope. Nope. You know where my mind's going to go? Nope. You just stop laughing. You're setting me up. I'm going to get in trouble. Stop it. Lost my train of thought now. Leaf colors. Yeah. That's why the roots are showing. Between soil compaction and what the trees are taking out of the soils. And people totally misunderstand. You know, just like you look out in your yard or you look out in a field somewhere and there are bare spots. You know, this is a revealing telltale sign that something's going on. In most cases, it's just compaction. And a simple handful of Epsom salt would make all the difference in the world in that one little spot. And people don't understand that. You know, I did my final aeration beginning of the week, Monday, on a property, and he's having some issues growing some grass in a couple of spots where the roots are starting to reveal themselves, and the soil needs help. It just needs help. The trees are starting to die off, and he's not understanding why, and he doesn't want to lose the trees. You know, and I'm telling him, look, hey, Uncle Al, telling him, look, you got to pay attention. You know, your soil needs Epsom salt. You need to soften this stuff up and allow the minerals back in, and let these things start to come back out of the soils again. There are huge mineral deposits down there that people aren't aware of, because the microscopic level goes in and gets these things. But as the compaction takes over, he's like, well, won't this aeration help? Yeah, the top inch, the top 2 inches, everything else underneath that, I'm not reaching it. You need something to soak into the soil and get in there. So, of course, he doubted me. And he immediately went in and he spent about an hour or so researching Epsom salt on the garden level or the garden basis, and comes back out to me as I'm packing up the truck, looking at me going, I had never heard that. Here I am, 67 years old, and I never knew the value of Epsom salt. I didn't know I could use that in this situation. Thank you so much for sharing this information. This is lost information. Lost. Generations don't know this. How it slips by people, I don't understand. They just don't care. They don't. You know, here he is telling me that he thinks that it was because of the children he raised on the property and the grandkids and this, that, and the other going on. And, whoa, hold it, dude. Soil compaction is not the result of people walking on it and people playing on it. If you put a swimming pool back there and left that thing up for 10 years, okay, that would compact your soil. But that's not what causes compaction. There's other things at work here. How many cars driving around? How many airplanes flying over? How many diesel trucks going by? All of this stuff settles on the soil and inevitably chases away the microbial life and pushes out the need for worms. And it's a domino effect. No, we're not causing this global warming situation. There's other things at work here. And our lack of knowledge. Good morning, Carolyn. Our lack of knowledge, our lack of shared, expressed, handed down information is what's causing soil compaction and causing these issues. This information, I tried. Well, good morning, Sherry. Hope you're well. And I'm just going to say prayers, okay? Um, it kind of caught me off guard this morning, but I'll just say that, and I won't. Um, I tried. I was I popped into a chat this past week. Caught everybody completely off guard. Um, they weren't expecting me. They were talking about prepping and they were talking about gardening with a lady that's here in Ohio. And, in walks the wizard with all these details and all this information. My schedule's really weird. And as much as I want to be doing lives with everybody and jumping in to help, without having it on an absolute schedule, knowing when I'm supposed to be there, um, I legitimately pass out from a hard day's work. I don't eat breakfast when I get up to run in the morning. I grab a cup of coffee and I'm hustling. Um, in most cases in the morning, I'm up talking to Sherry Kay and Carolyn when I get up 4 o'clock in the morning. And the last thing I want to do is cook breakfast. No. And then once I'm working, I don't stop until everything is done. And that means work right through lunch and keep right on going and accomplish what my day's goals are. Um, and if you've ever run an aerator and seen some of the equipment, well, I think I showed it in the video, but that thing's a beast. That thing tears up the ground. It does its job, but it's a beast. You got to manhandle this thing. That's the words they use, and whatever. Um, it's work. It's work. Slinging around 50-pound bags of fertilizer every 10 minutes, 20 minutes as you go from property to property to get fertilizers down to help these properties and to solve a lot of the issues I see going on. And there's a whole interesting world in the fertilizer world that I knew existed, but until you see it actually in action every 30 days or every 35, 40 days, and sometimes in less, if you guys remember, in the book I said soils and plants, mostly weeds, will tell you what's going on in the soil. It'll tell you what's needed. And I've gotten really good at pulling up on a property and being able to just scan over and look at the property and look at the neighbor's property and see growing issues or see growing needs that I want this property to show huge improvement while this property continues to stay the same and or look worse. And I can't tell you how many times I went back and told them I had talked to the neighbor and we may pick up another client and got yelled at for it. We don't want more clients. We got too much as it is. I thought the whole point of business was growing a business. Maybe I misunderstood. I mean, we were busy. Don't. There was no room for downtime. We ran out a month before we ran out of work. That's for damn sure. Great learning experience. A lot of really, really good stuff there. But people got to understand there's some great minerals that are being pulled out of the soil on a microscopic level that once put back in the soil And I got to correct some things here. Some people misunderstand some of this stuff. We start talking about minerals. All right, there's concentrations of minerals specific to Epsom salt. And it has, that combination of minerals has the ability to soften soil and soften clay and allow grass to move back in and start penetrating that compressed area or that compaction level once again. What people don't understand or what people miss, I still haven't cut that thing open yet. I can go get it. I can show it to you. You won't believe it. 16 and a half pounds. You won't believe it, but I can go get it if you want to see it. There are minerals trapped in clay just below the soil surface. Not being able to get your hands on the products I mentioned in the Green Wizard's Guide doesn't mean you're completely blank. This is okay, hold on. This is why I say removing leaves from your property and removing grass clippings from your property are bad. Well, I'll address that, Uncle Al. Just I'll lose my train of thought here because I just got sidetracked with this watermelon. You guys won't believe it. If I show it to you, you won't believe it. And I know proof is in the picture. I get it, but I still find it unbelievable myself. Epsom salt is readily available. Now, granted, if you buy it from a package store, you're paying for the wrapper. You can get it in larger quantities. No, don't be sorry. Don't. It just I kind of trail. And sometimes I get sidetracked. I've caught myself on videos where I forget to go back to something unless somebody reminds me. And I don't want to stop where I was headed. As every tree and every blade of grass pulls different minerals from the soil, and then we go and remove them, that's the mistake. Those minerals are readily available through composting. Okay. And we're not talking about a massively hard project here. We're talking about, you could do it in a trash can. You could do it between pallets. People get all freaked out about all the numbers and all of the rights and wrongs of how to compost. And the next book really concentrates on some of those areas and really breaks it down. Nobody's really interested in the next book, but I've got to get it out of my system, so I'm writing it anyhow. But there are too many different ways of composting for anyone to sit down and say, bang, 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 this is the right way or the wrong way. That's not true. It will never be true. Things piled up, breaking down naturally in Mother Nature's way, may take a year. It may take 2. That is going to be the most abundant, most active compost pile you could potentially have. Now, can we speed it up? That's the trick. That's where all the detail comes into play. Yes, you can speed it up. Add sugar. Add manures. Go to a hot pile from rabbits or from chickens, really, really hot, and put that in there. then you end up with a completely different problem, because now you can get too hot. And now you can take it from being a great soil and a great soil builder to being an anaerobic, toxic atmosphere and kill plants. It's a balancing act when we step in to help. If we don't monitor it and we aren't on it on a continual basis, because you can turn a pile in a week. Okay? Legitimately, you can take leaves, compost, and all the materials with hot manures and with sugars and everything else to speed the thing up, and you can turn that thing lightning fast in a week or less. You can turn one. I've seen it done in 3 days. Okay. I've also seen that same process in a 3-day period burn the pile and turn it anaerobic. Toxic as could possibly be because it got too hot. That being said, every time you remove a single leaf from your property, you're taking away a potential mineral source. Every time you take away a blade of grass, you're taking away a neutralizer. Ashes, grass clippings. When grass clippings turn brown, when they're off gassing and turn brown, become a neutralizer. You can put grass clippings under a pine tree and relieve the high acidity from the pine needles. It takes a lot, don't misunderstand, and it takes time, Mother Nature's time. But you can bring that soil back. And that, I'm not saying it goes away, it just becomes acidic. It's great for berries, it's great for all sorts of other plants. But it's not necessarily great for grass. It's not necessarily good for gardening. That's why we avoid it when we're composting. That's not to say that the needles can't be used. But again, this is a balancing act when you're coming to composting. So back to what I was saying in the loss of the minerals, if you can't get your hands on the minerals, they are available in those leaves. You don't necessarily need to compost. You may need to grind them up to speed the process up of breaking those leaves down. If you don't have enough worms in your compost pile to help eat some of that stuff, you may want to run over it with a mulching lawnmower. Okay? Never relinquish the leaves off your property. Never. Grind them up and use them. Now, back to Uncle Al's dilemma of having too much great manure. It's a time process. It's a time gap. It needs time to cool off. If you had the ability to pasture, graze, and move those cows and move that manure from one paddock to the next paddock to the next paddock to the next paddock, there's a time gap. And Mother Nature's given a chance to cool that stuff off naturally, and it will thrive in the soils. If you're gathering it because you have them all concentrated in an area, not only and I'm going to call it the wrong thing. Let's just say it's a manure spreader. It throws it out in the air and allows oxygen and oxygenation, and it lands in the soils and it builds those soil areas up. When you have so much, it's a matter of getting it spread out. Yes, you can overpile it and you can have it too high, too thick, and starve everything out underneath. Okay, I get that. I wish I had that problem. Huh. My issues, not being able to get my hands on active manures and high end. See, that's and it's not. It's not. Okay, think of the ingredients. Think of the ingredients to a good, fast cooking. I know, and Sherry's over here going, he's going to talk about barbecue. Here it comes. No, not yet. A fast cooking manure pile. There's a list of ingredients that go into it. Your greens, your browns, your woods, your active manures. When you bring these together, okay, and yes, when I'm talking about your woods, you should potentially be looking at almost charcoal. Almost. I would use charcoals in completely different ways and get an even richer atmosphere out of it. Like cleaning your pond. I know this is a prepper thing. I've not really talked about it much, but it's one of those prepper things. As people clear pastures and open up wood and take down trees and quote unquote pine trees, okay? A pine tree has an active material in it that is extremely flammable. It's one of the reasons we don't want to use them in the garden. But if you made pine charcoal, and there's a whole prepper thing on making your own charcoal. It's a canister within a canister, allowing all the materials to leach out, burn out, smolder out of your woods inside the center canister. If you're using pine and creating charcoal from pine, I know. Every gardener here is ready to string me up. Hold on. You take that same charcoal in a canister and you take it to a pond, a holding pond that is green as could be, full of algae, and you pump that algae through that charcoal. Alrighty, we'll see you, Southern. Thanks for stopping in. And you pump that algae through that charcoal, and you start creating algae-rich charcoal. You have a secret ingredient for a garden that will blow your mind. Algae and gardening, they do go together. They very seriously go together. Yeah. I don't want to go too far. Okay. Just keep it in mind. People are dropping pine trees and don't realize the resource they have in front of them, and they've got a pond on their property that is suffering. It doesn't need aerated. Algae's growing in it, leaps and bounds, and nobody can stop it without throwing chemicals at it. Build a giant charcoal filter and pump that algae water through that charcoal filter from the pine trees. Now you've got a usable pine charcoal that is safe, that's algae rich. Put that in your garden. Something really unique about it, charcoal. When we talked to Howie and we talk about his soil pathway gardening, nobody stops to think about when that wood breaks down and what it leaches out and what it absorbs and what's in it and what gets in it. When you create a charcoal, you create a sponge for minerals that's unlike any other on the planet. And when you bury charcoal under your garden against a clay bed, it begins to not only hold water, release its own minerals, but allows mineral storage. You seeing where I'm going with that? So don't necessarily dismiss your pine trees. Not always. Back to the mineral base, as you compost these, and if you can't compost because of this, that, or the other, some people don't have the time. Some people don't have the room or the space. They have a little garden. Perfect place to compost leaves. The trick is adding green material. You need to put grass clippings in there. It's the only secret. What I love to do with mine is add eggshells. And I go for the full shell. I don't necessarily powder it every single year. You want differences throughout the season. It all breaks down. It all disappears. It's really, really neat. Okay. I'll give you this one example, and then I'm going to get out of here because I've got some stuff to do to prep for winter. But my garlic beds, a lot of you have seen them. A lot of you know what I've got going on there. This year, to irritate one of my neighbors, instead of just laying out the straw, I literally pulled it completely apart from its condensed form, and I stacked it. Now, what's in reality, once it gets wet and once the snow starts hitting it, what have you, it's going to come back to its normal compaction level, which is still going to be breathable for the soil, but it covers the soil. Right now, it looks like it's 2 feet thick. It looks like I put 5 hay bales out there and just threw them in the air and made a mess. That's just to irritate one of my neighbors because he's a neat freak. That's okay. You got to cover your soil. When I brought soil in this year, because I found an incredible source, extremely reliable, extremely clean, full of organic material from leaf gathering from last year. When I planted last weekend, and it was a struggle. I finally got to it on Sunday. I had a lot of other things going on, but when I planted the garlic, I took out the rototiller because I wanted to mix the new soil with my old soil. I also wanted to get a worm count. I also wanted to get some more minerals in. There's a bunch of processes going on in my head as I went to this and took the rototiller to it. I put down about an inch of this soil on top of last year's hay, last year's straw on top of my soil. It was already covered. I just took this and put it on top of it. And it sat there for, I don't know, maybe a month, give or take. We'll say on the outside 2 months that has sat there exposed, breathing, doing its thing, what have you. Plenty of compost in it. Great stuff. When I took the rototiller to it, there was no straw, hay, what have you, anywhere to be found. The active materials, the active life, both in my original soil and the new soil that I had just brought in, went to work on all of that straw bale and had completely digested every single bit of it that I already had laid down. And that was an inch coverage in hay, straw, whatever. It was completely gone. That's how active my soil is. That's what's going on. That's what needs to be going on in your gardens. Take your leaves mixed with grass, green grass, and cover your gardens. Put up little fences, whatever you need to do to corral the leaves so they don't blow away, and just throw the leaves in there with grass clippings. The rain and the snow will compact it. It's going to create a blanket over your garden. The active microbial life, and if you want to speed it up or you want to help it along, put some molasses on it. It's not going to hurt anything. It's pure sugar. It's not going to hurt a thing. Get that down on there. Let that compact. Let it do its thing. It's still going to breathe. The mixing of the grass clippings and the leaves are not going to cause the solid blanket, which is why everybody's freaking out right now. Got to get the leaves off my grass because it'll cause problems. Yes and no. It's going to cause problems because you're not going to clean them up and put them somewhere to use by creating your own compost pile. The best thing you could do would be to mix it with soil. Some people aren't going to work that hard. So just lay the leaves inside the cage with grass clippings so that you have the combination or you have the ingredients for a compost pile. And let it sit all winter. Let Mother Nature do her thing. Your garden will reward you come springtime. We're going to all run into some shortages this year. It's inevitable. 7,000 truck drivers didn't pass their drug testing and have lost their jobs, at least for 30 days. The shortages are real. At least not being able to move them from one warehouse to the next warehouse. These shortages are real. If you're not growing your own victory gardens, you're the one at fault. No one else. You have the ability, you have the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, that's what the Green Wizard's Guide is for. It gives you the knowledge and puts it in your hand so that you at your age, whatever that may be, all the way down to a 10-year-old, can absorb this information and put it to use for next spring and recover from the shortages. Everything going on, it's up to you to make that difference. It's up to the prepper to grow a garden. It's up to the homeowner to convert some of his yard and save some money. I don't know what else to say and how to say it, but I'm not going to get in trouble. I've been trying to preach this for 3 years. We're past that point. Everybody should have canned everything and been prepared for this winter. What's coming's not going to be good. But it is what it is. I tried to help. I tried to warn. I tried to write the book. I tried to give all the information out. You can take the horse to water. Can't necessarily make him drink. You know, we got into that live show, and when I was seen in the live show, it was brought up. I was there, and they asked the questions, and I participated in chat as much as I could. The proof is in the book sales, and those people didn't get it. Don't understand what I'm offering and what I'm trying to do. Maybe they're not understanding that this same information used on lawns is exactly the same information used on gardens, and that they're both the same living entity. They are one and the same. I don't know how to say it in any other way. If your yard's failing, your garden's going to fail. If your garden's failing, your yard's going to fail. They have to work together. The microbial life will go out and get what it needs, but it can't when one of the elements is missing. It's a domino effect. Alrighty, I will check in another time. I hope you're all doing well. Share this out, share the information. If you're not subscribed, hit that button. You never know when I'm going to come in here with some valuable information. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. I hope you all have a great day, a great weekend. Look for me. I am thinking about that, smoking that 16-pound turkey. Might be some valuable information in there. Might be. I'm not a sherry. I can't cook, so we'll just go from there. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you later.